and welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year to everyone if this is the first video of 2024 of mine that you are watching. Hope you're having a brilliant start to the year and that everything is going well, and apart from that, this is my favourite supplies of 2023. So I've kind of worked through each category and found the thing that I love to use the most in that set, and we're going to go through them. And it tends to be the things that I just reach for automatically, that I know I will always get, you know, a good result from, kind of tried and tested and true, and just my favourites for different mediums. So we're going to start with we'll go with the basics. So alcohol markers. I don't work in alcohol markers a whole lot. I tend to just use them for basing, and therefore I've never really needed anything super fancy. I've got the big massive set. I have a big tower over there of Ohuhu, and these do everything I need to. I've got about 300 and odd colours. They always pull a little bit darker than, you know, more expensive markers that are true to form, but I know that, and I just test on a bit of paper before I start, so I know I'm going to get the kind of shade that I'm aiming for. And these base really beautifully. I get nice smooth blends on single-sided paper. I use them a lot on Amazon paper, and I've had them a while now and I'm not having any problem. I have the brush tips, I do like those. I don't really use the broad chisel, and if I had them to buy again, I would definitely buy the new sets that come out with the fine chisel and the brush, because I do really prefer those. So Ohuhu markers definitely win out, but mainly because, I'll be honest, I've never used anything expensive and they're just the brand that I like. In the kind of gel pen category, I have a few things that I use an awful lot that I love and I do prefer, and that is for glitter gel pens. I really enjoy the Pentel. Now they're a dual metallic, so you do have to be a little bit careful. I won't use them in big patches, but when I'm popping little cute metallic accents on a page, I really enjoy using these. I've got most of the colours, I think. They're not cheap, so I do use them more sparingly. You know, I wouldn't do a Mondola in these. I'd use a cheap gel pen, not gonna lie. But when I'm doing one of my proper colouring pages and I want something to really sparkle and be amazing, I do use these. If I want a black glossy item on the page, I always use a black Sakura Jelly Roll Glaze. I always have a few of these. I go through those pretty quick. And if I'm going to mark my page with white, I do always come back to my tried and tested and true Uniball Signal white. I use this an awful lot. I know a lot of people have problems with gel pens clogging up. The main thing I've found is it is important to remember to clean the nib. Maybe use tissue. I'm not terrible, I'm an animal, I use my fingers. But to clean the nib once done, so that it's not gunking up the end of your pen. And I've never had any problem with sticking and gunking and not working with mine. And I've got a bit left in this one, but I go through a few of these a year. I use them a lot. The alternative, I suppose, you can use a white Posca, and I will on the odd occasion. But for just ease of use, it's pretty rare that I'll use anything on a white except for that. I am super back into the glossy accent trick this year, so I'm going to add this into my favourites. I love adding glossy accents over eyes, especially big chibi eyes, things like that. They really come out amazing. It adds a lot of dimension, texture. You can use them for glass windows, anything like that on your colouring pages. You know, even if you want to give your nails a little bit of shimmer, make them look like they're a little bit more glossy, these are perfect, and I use this a lot. I've got the little tub, and it does last quite well, to be honest. I've had this a while. I got it back out because I hadn't used it for ages, and I didn't want it to go off, and then you just remember how much you like it once you start using it again. The tool I mainly use constantly all year long. I've got 3 of these in the house, one in my craft room, one downstairs where I work, and one in my handbag for when I'm out and about, maybe colouring anywhere else. These are perfect. You do, I do suggest you empty them out if you're going to travel, because they will pour all over your stuff. It ends up everywhere, even if you close the front, you do end up with dust all over. But they're a really good pencil. I love that you can change the size, so that anything expensive that costs me a little bit more to use, I do really cheap it, and I go all the way down to the smallest size, so I'm getting the most out of my pencils that I can. My Prismas last me really nicely that way, and I don't think I ever really change the setting. The only thing this is no good for is the big square barrel pencils, and in that case I do have an electric pencil sharpener in a bigger size downstairs for like my Brute Foruna squares and stuff. Just have to remember to sharpen them before I go anywhere. Let's see, as an honourable mention, because I don't really ever use them, and I think this probably needs to be in my New Year's resolutions, to use ink more. I don't use a lot of inks. I've got a few brands, but I must admit, I think just because this was the first one that I used, and I have the set and I have the re-inkers, these are definitely my favourite. I think there's 36 colours in this range, so it's not a massive selection of colours, but it pretty much usually does all my needs, and these are just beautiful. They do them in a bigger size. These are the Memento Dewdrops, so they're like a small version, and that just works just fine for me. They're beautiful colours, they blend really nicely, and when I am going to pick up an ink, it is usually, you know, this is my go-to. I kind of have to force myself to remember to try other things. I do like to do an acrylic background, and I will occasionally outline something in acrylic. It is rare, but if I am going to do an acrylic paint pen background, it is always a Posca, to be honest. I do have the Thule to try this year, and I'm going to see if I can throw those into my series of backgrounds and see how I feel about those. But at the moment, the thing I've always used, the thing I used to death last year, if it was going to be an acrylic background, and you've seen it in my pages, it will have been a Posca. I have lots of colours. I use a lot of black, quite a bit of blues as well. I do like to just do a plain blue sky if I just can't be bothered. This tends to be my go-to for a really blank background. Right, let's see, couple more bits. I have my all-time favourite background medium has got to be gel crayon. It's been like this ever since I found them a few years ago. I am a massive fan of gel crayon. I use mine dry with a blending brush and a cheap little kitchen chopping board, and I'm away. Out of the brands I have, because I have quite a few, I've got a mixture of budget and more expensive, I do love them all and I use them all interchangeably. But if I was being completely honest, the King Art just have more artistic colours, more muted tones that you're going to really love. If you were going to get a set, that would be my recommendation. They're beautifully soft and creamy. They last really well. Gel crayons, you get a bit of use out of them. And I do believe in America these are a lot less expensive to get than over here. Having said that, I have just reveal for my haul bought the big set of these. I saw these pop up as an import on Amazon for £40 a few weeks ago, and I grabbed them. It's the big set of 72. If you live in America, that might sound like a lot, but over here these things can get ridiculously expensive, and the set is already back up to £56, I believe. So I did grab them. No, I did not need any more gel crayons. No, I don't have room for more gel crayons, but they definitely are my favourite. I love them to death. I really like the colours, and I was just really interested to see what you got in the big set, because I think I have, I purchased 2 sets of 12, I think, when I got these originally, so it's just going to be super fun to see which ones I'm missing. These are nice because they do have colour names and numbers, so if you are a colourist that likes to, let's get that clear, you know, swatch and have copies of things, you know, I know this is a big deal for a lot of people that they are labelled properly. So they're like the Faber-Castell gelatos, they have the proper label to them. It's really nice and easy to see. They're very clear. They've got some pretty names and or you know, simple names. Can I get that to, there we go. Absolutely love these, use them all the time, use them to death. Back into my background game at the moment, so these have been seeing a lot of love. I think it's mainly because I know I've purchased those King Art, so I better make it look like I really use these or I'll be in trouble, I reckon. Kind of background number 2. My other go-to would be soft pastel. There's lots of versions of soft pastel, they're all really nice. The budget version that I've used a lot that is also nice is the Mungyo. They work beautifully. I have a set of those as well. Obviously these are a lot more expensive, but for kind of a very beautiful, soft, easy to use pastel, obviously I am going to go with pan pastel because I do have them. They give a much more muted, softer background tone that is a lot more forgiving, because obviously you can erase it, you can build it up a lot easier. These do last a long time, especially if you use them as rare as I do. And they're not cheap, not gonna lie, they're not cheap. They really are artist grade, and you know, it's one of those, you're getting a decent amount in each pan size. These trays are super expensive. I don't buy these, can't be bothered with that life, but this one set did come in this, so when I am working I just swap them into that, whichever set that I'm working with. I find the stackable nature of these so irritating, and if I could be bothered to pay the expense of buying lids for all of these, I would do, because I'm not a fan of this storage version. That is my only downside with the pan pastel, the only thing I do not like. But apart from that, you know, they're beautiful. Definitely recommend using the proper soft tools. Unfortunately, again, they're not cheap, but I haven't really found anything else that works quite as well with them. So that is that. I'm going to move that off to one side out of the way as well. And then we are left with pencils. So obviously, you know, I love Prismacolor, I love my Polychromos, I love the Caran d'Ache Luminance. They're all beautiful pencils, they're all things I would recommend, they're all things that people are going to love, they're very well known, they've been around a long time, they are more artist grade pencils, and if you can afford them, that is amazing. But if you are working on a budget, or you're newer to, you know, colouring, and you just don't want to invest something like that, you're watching this kind of video because you just want to find some things to use, you know, my budget pencil recommendations, and when I say budget, I mean budget, not kind of middle range £40 to £60, I mean kind of, you know, between £10 and £25. I really love, as always, you know how I feel about this, the Brut Funa Square 120 set. These are an amazing set of pencils. They're a firmer pencil, so you have to like the kind of pencil I do, and they are annoying for sharpening. You are going to want a bigger pencil sharpener, or these are not going to work with like whatever you standardly use. But I use these to death. I use them all the time. I've got 3 backup sets, and these in the sale can go down to ridiculously amazing prices. You do need to like a firmer pencil, you really do. But you know, these work on Amazon paper, which if you are working on a budget, you're probably working with a lot amount of Amazon paper really nicely. And then to supplement this set, as a kind of builder add-on for later, is the Brut Funa Macaron. If you're going to buy a set of pastel pencils, these are a beautiful budget price. You can get these usually for just over £10, especially when they pop into the sale. You get a set of 50 colours, and to be honest, nowadays you actually get them in this case, which, to be honest, a pencil case on its own you wouldn't be able to find for cheaper than the pencils. It is ridiculous. I've bought pencil cases more expensive than this pencil set. So if you do then start to really enjoy your pencils and you want a pastel add-on to just really be able to add on those highlight colours that a lot of sets are lacking, the Brut Funa Macaron set is kind of the perfect companion piece, and those are pencils that I always return to, always get a bit of love, and I really enjoy. The other set, this was not available here for the longest time. I know in America it is easier to get, but the Amazon basic pencils that they came out with are, to be honest, for the price, truly fantastic. You are only getting 72 pencils in this set. I do have some out because I'm always using my pencils for numerous projects, but you know, if you're going to be overwhelmed by a bigger set, something like this probably is better for you to start out with. I mean, you can take 12 pencils and create any colour you want. So if you're good at colour theory and colour mixing, it's not going to matter. But these, again, also are absolutely beautiful, especially over a marker base in the Amazon print paper. So if you're using stuff like that a lot, these are going to work really well. These in the sale are ridiculously cheap. I have my main set and I do have a backup set up on my shelf because I am a little bit crazily paranoid like that. And because they were out of stock here for so long, I'll be honest, I did grab a set and I'm very likely going to grab myself another spare. I use these quite a lot. They're really nice. I have seen people compare these to Prismacolor, and I don't want to be rude in any way, but they're nothing like a Prismacolor. Anyone that's used a Prismacolor knows there is no other pencil as soft as a Prisma. I'm not a massive Prismacolor fanatic. I like my Prismas, I use them, they work nice on certain papers, but I'm not like a die-hard because I do prefer a firmer pencil. So I can say with complete unbias that these are not as soft as a Prisma in any way, but they are a softer pencil. So if you prefer something softer, you want that creamier texture over the firmer Brut Funa, this is more in between, more of a, you know, what is the word I'm looking for? A softer core than kind of a more oil-based Prisma, Poly, Brut Funa, those kind of firmer based pencils. These are a little bit softer, a little bit easier on the hands. They're a bit of a bigger size, which is also nice, so they don't feel like a cheap pencil in any way when you've got hold of them. They're of course very light, and they're a cheap wood because they are a cheap pencil. But if you just have these in your pencil case, no one's going to look at these and be like, oh yeah, you spent, you know, £5 on your pencils, did you? You know, they just are nice, and I've used mine quite a bit, and every time I use them I am quite surprised by how nice they lay over the markers in the Amazon paper. And let's be honest, I mean, for the price of these, you just can't really go wrong if you just want to grab your first budget set to try. I don't think this would be a bad idea to learn and play and decide what sort of pencil you like without having to invest in your future more expensive pencil set. So I hope this was interesting or useful in some way. This is what I've been loving and what I use, and what has mainly, you know, reoccurred in my go-to stash for the year. Obviously, you know, I have a 5-tier bookcase full of pencil cases, full of pencils. I am a big pencil artist. It is what I like to use. It is what I colour with. It is my main medium. But for the real cheap, truly budget, they are amazing. And everything I've shown here today is something that stays in my stash, is rebought, reused. I've been using them for a serious amount of time now, and I absolutely can 100% recommend that if you like the kind of medium I do, you will like these versions. So yeah guys, apart from that, happy new year, have a fabulous week, happy crafting, happy whatever you're doing, if you're cleaning, I don't know, waiting in the car to pick up kids, whatever it might be. have a fabulous time, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.